All right, so closing things off, we have two movies we had to talk about, right? This would be News of the World and The Little Things. Reason why I say we should close with that is because I want to do sort of a, contrast, a little compare contrast basically with these two shows. Because
Okay.
basically one is basically both films are doing a particular thing. This is taking a old genre, well, I should say relatively old genre, and breathing new life into it. But not by really doing anything too new or spectacular. Because, yeah, both narratives we've kind of seen in some way, shape, or form, right? Maybe not in a Western like The News of the World or a neo-noir thriller like The Little Things. But, the premises we've seen before, right? They're
Right.
tried and true formulas, right? But it's a matter of execution, right? To whether they work on it. So I will talk about, well, I mean, I saw both shows, right? But I'll do the synopsis and review of Little Things, and we will talk about News of the World, right? Which are going to kick things off with. So, Ricardo, take it away. News of the World. What was it about?
Yes. So it's your boy Tom Hanks playing. Oh gosh, I forget this guy's name. He's a captain. Uh, shit. What's his name, boy?
All right, I'm going to pull up the name now.
Yeah,
I will
Captain
pull up
something
the
something.
Jefferson Kid.
Okay, Captain Kidd, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
catch
well,
his name at all. Clearly, to tell you the truth. Anyway, yeah. So what he is, it's he reads the news to people in like towns. He'll travel from town to town, collecting a bunch of newspapers and whatever it is, and then read the news to them. And this is really interesting and weird as a call, and they explain it
it
later because
is, eh?
I was thinking, wait, that was like that was a career in the past.
I,
But
I
what it is
wonder, boy, but
yeah.
it feels plausible. Like,
So
yeah, I
basically,
mean, how
what he
else
is,
people wanna like learn about the news of other states, basically, right? You know what
right?
I mean? It's not like they had the radio, right? Duh.
Well, it's
So
right. Well,
yeah,
it's more, but a lot of people are just illiterate too. So, like, they address that. And you just pay him 10 cents and he'll just come and read the news. So basically, he's like old timey David Pacman. That's basically what's going on there, right? And um, it works. It was really clever for what it was. I didn't think it would have been as interesting as it is. But whatever, he's reading news, and then what happens is that he encountered how do you get a girl again, boy? This little girl.
all right.
He,
What happens is okay. How you got
oh
the
no,
girl,
right, right,
sorry?
right, right. He stumbles up on a cart, and
Yes, yes.
he see like this dude, like a black dude, get hanged because well, it's right after the Civil War. So yeah,
Yep,
and it's
yep,
Texas. So
yep,
right,
yep.
and
You
then
know, right? They really stress on that, but yeah,
yeah,
it's Texas, right? So
yeah, and then so you meet this person running, he chase her down and he grab her. And it's unclear if she could even speak English or something like that. You wonder if she kind of dumb or mute or something along those lines. But then you find out what's going on, and it's like, oh, okay, she lost her family to Indians implied, but then the Indians also got killed off, and she doubled off apparently. And he got this little piece of paper. So what he do is they apparently track down her um they apparently track down like what her last set of family would be, and basically the plan is to just like well for him to get to that and travel with her and save her. That's it, and that's where the story plays from there. And it's him
yeah.
traveling from town to town with her, carrying her around, helping her out. And yeah, this was pretty damn good for me as well. Didn't enjoy it as much as White Tiger, but still pretty damn good. I thought it was really engaging, not too gripping. It went in a space I didn't expect it to go, but it was still pretty good. Um, but it was good. And then it does a thing that I like, where it just gets into the idea of narratives and stories and how that stuff like that could just give people kind of hope, kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that. That's it. Uh, great performances by everybody. Tom Hanks holds it, and yeah, just get some not super dark parts, but some really tense moments, I would say. And yeah, he has a big surprise with this. Paul Greengrass direct. Holy shit! It was like
Yeah, I know, right?
that was like really interesting and shocking. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah. Well, I think the last time both of them collabed together was Captain Phillips, right? Which
Right.
was like literally a decade ago, right? Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed this as well, right? Not as much as all that, but I enjoyed it for what it was. This actually had a Christmas Day release, in the States,
Right.
and I could see why. I mean, it has that sort of feel where, it's one of those movies you could just kind of kick back and relax to. Actually, kind of tell myself I actually wouldn't mind showing my dad this movie because he's really into westerns, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is he have the market cornered on what I call good white guy dad movies. Like he does that really well. He did that with old timey he did that with the World War II movie.
yeah.
He did that with
He did a went to Road to Perdition, which
Road to
is one of my
Perdition, right?
all-time favorite movies. Nobody, he
Yeah,
was a anti-hero, but still, you know what I mean? He's protecting his kid, right? He was
yeah,
protecting oh gosh, who it was? Why he was protecting young Superman, right?
yeah.
Yeah, before we talk about Superman, Louis Spider, right? Yeah, it's Tyler, right?
Ty-
Yeah, yeah,
Tyler Hector.
Tyler,
Yeah,
yeah, right. So anyway, but yeah, yeah, so I don't know. I just like seeing Tom Hanks the protector basically, right? And that's where you get here. But I really dug how they stress on the power of the spoken word, right? And just his job alone, by is like I just this is one of those things like you're just shocked that you never really heard about because I don't think that they just invent this job for the sake of right. A movie like this wouldn't do that, so it has to be a real job. Like it's one of those things you wouldn't think about because you don't really see it in films, right? But I was like, this is like excellent doing. I mean, I love the fact that even though he loves to do it, he does make mention that yeah, it's a lonely job, right? And yeah, it
yeah,
makes sense, right? So him confronting the girl and him like kind of being this protector to her and all that kind of stuff, worked for me. You really got some genuine, heartwarming moments, some gripping moments, a nice little shootout here and there. You have some
yeah.
people trying to kill him for reasons, and
That
it,
first big shootout is quite good.
it
It's
was.
intense. I like how a reasonably intelligent the girl is, and yeah,
Yes, yes.
that little
I was
solution she
like
came up with.
brilliant though, like how she
Yeah,
was able to just take on her feet though. I love that.
yeah. That little thing with
Um,
the coins, I thought was really clever.
yeah,
Um,
just one gripe though with
right.
a certain VFX shot. That's all I'll say. Like
Okay, I don't
it was
notice.
noticeably VFX. Like,
Okay,
but given the nature of the show,
I
it makes sense why it had to be that way. But
okay.
still, it was just kind of noticeable. That's
Right,
just me. But I can't see it played out any other way.
right,
Also, another moment, they're in the third act, but once again, I really don't know how something like that would have looked in real life, right? So yeah, you have to kind of do a little After Effects stuff to kind of get this gear to look the way it does, right? But whatever.
right,
But really, what sells it though is just well the actor. Right? I mean, Tom Hanks. I mean, I can't say that he did. Well, okay, what I would say though is that many people will say this is like his best role ever. I would
right.
say no, but it is a great performance though. He has been. I mean, has there been any film where he just kind of shit in the bed? I don't
No,
think so, right?
no,
None. But yeah,
no. Yeah,
he's great. He's believable as this guy who, loves his job, but, kind of understands that, I'm doing this for the money. I
yeah,
literally left my family to do this, right?
right,
The music, which is by James Newton Howard, was great as well. The cinematography, Darius Wolski, right?
right.
Yeah, looked gorgeous in my opinion, though. And some really, really great shots. And just the story itself, yeah, I dug it. But what I would
Yeah,
say, though,
this what based on a book, right?
I
Think so.
yes, it is actually. Yes, it is.
Okay,
I'm not
okay,
reading it up yet. Yeah,
right, okay,
yeah, and it kind of makes sense actually, right? But what I would say though is that it does feel familiar, right? The whole someone was abandoned in some shootout or
yeah,
some Indian raid or something like that.
right,
Now you have to carry this person back, right? It does it did remind me of classic movie period, with John Wayne, The Searchers, and there's
right.
even a shot which replicated probably the most famous shot in The Searchers. Like, okay, all right, I respect that. Y'all did that. Y'all did that. I like that. But In this case, while the searchers was about this guy whose daughter was kidnapped by Indians, and he just became this racist, and eventually it was just him trying to find his daughter back. Here is, you know, pretty much good-natured guy who know how rough things are, but has to protect this child and will literally go through hell just to keep her safe and just carry her back home. Work for me, right? So yeah, I mean, the story itself is familiar. That's not to say that the show isn't enjoyable, but I will say lastly before I get to read it, it does have a slow burn to it, but I didn't mind at all. But I know for some people, who I don't know, people might go in this expecting action in it, like tons of it. But no, I
Right.
knew going in that it was going to be this sort of slow burn film. It was more drama than anything else and just more character driven than anything else. And it just worked for me there. It just has that old school feel to it, right? Even though, it's made in 2020, right?
Right.
And yeah, I imagine like old school fans of westerns just really, really digging this film. But for newbies, for people who just kind of want to shut the brain off, sorry, and watch people get shot at, yeah, this is not for you, Dread. But I have a feeling that the slow burn might kind of take people out of the show. But
Right.
I don't know, I dug it for what it was. I dug the feel of it, right? So yeah, I mean, while it's not the most original thing ever, I still enjoyed it. I still dug its heart, its
Yeah.
message, what it was doing, how it looked, how the acting, everything. So yeah, Rita was going to give this a lighter, decent format. I certainly enjoyed it. So would this have been best of for 2020 if I saw it back then?
Nah, doubt.
Probably, but maybe like an honorable mention or maybe the
Yeah.
11 to 20 category. Not a
Right.
top 10, right? But that's not to say that the movie is great or anything like that. But still, yeah, give it a look, well, especially if you're a Tom Hanks fan.
Right.
Last words are written.
Yeah, this was serviceable for me. Well done. I really liked how it ultimately paced itself out quite well. Couldn't be mad at any of it for what it was trying to do. It's pretty good and fine for what it is. Yeah, I give it like a 7 out of 10. Just good chemistry, good good workable, fun script, well thought out. Nothing about it like too offensive or anything like that. It's fine.
Yeah,
Central conceit, I felt they could have done more with. I thought we would have gotten more of that, where the whole news of the world inspiring people thing. I thought I would have gotten that because the guy, oh shit, the story, this real story that he's so inspired by, and that actually
yeah.
let him get
And
out
it,
of the
it,
town.
ha- it, and it gives some great moments, so just seeing how the
Right,
people were inspired by these stories, right? So,
right,
yeah.
right, right. Yeah, stuff like that. So I really thought they would have done more with that. But it was so workable as it is.
Yeah, it certainly
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Right. And now for the comparison way. Let's talk about the little things. Okay, see, at the end of the day, it really is about the little things, right? This is the first, big release from Warner Brothers and HBO
right.
Max, right? This was one of the shows that were hyped up ever since they made this announcement about this simultaneous release on theatrical and streaming, right? So yeah, um, it's directed by John Lee Hancock. The last film I saw from him was The Highwayman with Kevin Costner, Woody Harrelson. Pretty good period piece, just about these two highwaymen basically trying to find Bonnie and Clyde. It was good, not
All right,
great,
that
but
was
it was good.
I
Yeah,
forget about that clean. But
yeah,
yeah, but
it's one of those shows you kind of see and you forget about it like about a few days, honestly. Yeah, but it was fine, right? But the big sell for this movie here in particular are the stars, right? Because we have Denzel Washington, we have Rami Malek, we have
right,
Jared Leto, so we
right.
have three Oscar winners in this, right? Three, right? Um, so what this story is about, right? It's all right. So essentially, it's a neo-noir thriller, right? More like a police procedural kind of film, right? It's actually set in 1990 in LA. Introduced to this deputy sheriff. His name is Joe Deacon. He's played by Denzel Washington, and basically he's called to collect some forensic evidence. Right, this is related to a murder where this woman who was driving on this lonely highway was practically stalked at and attacked by this random dude, right? So we have this sort of a serial killer thing going on because yeah, this is one of a few cases involving young women being killed, right, being stabbed to death, right. In the process, though, he runs into Jim Baxter, right, who's played by Rami Malek. Of course, he's younger. He's way more, idealistic. He's more ambitious, really, right? While Joe is more like, you know what, I just here to kind of do this job to get a paycheck kind of vibe, right? And yeah, typical thing, Jim is the guy who wants to get the son of a bitch and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Joe is just like, well, I just here to collect evidence, right? I kind of don't want to be here. The reason being it is that, even when he rolls up into the sheriff department now, people kind of watch him like, hey, me, long time no see Dick, me, long time no see Joe and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's really later we kind of understand that, well, not only did he work there, but he kind of left on bad terms, right? So,
right,
yeah, he has sort of a bad reputation with the folks in working in that department, right? And it's only later on that we learn why. And without spoiling too much, it has to do with a similar case involving some guy who was killing women, right? But it's just that he was unable to find that person, and something bad happens in the process, and this pretty much scars him mentally for life, right? So they do this pretty interesting thing where he would go into like a crime scene and kind of see, like, okay, like he would see the body, so like either when the body is there or not, he would kind of envision the person or at least the corpse of the woman alive, basically kind of watching him a kind of way there,
right,
almost like he's trying to peer into their souls, like trying to understand what they felt or what kind of led to them being killed. It's a interesting kind of technique that they use here, but it works, right, for the most part, right?
right, right.
So, long story short, now, all this investigation into who's doing all these murders now, we run into the character of Albert, who is played by Jared Leto, right? And well, from the jump, Joe suspects that it's him, and it is him actually, right?
Right, right.
But they do, but before leading into the review, though, they kind of do something with him, though, that kind of puts the story on a certain spin that I saw where they were getting at, but ultimately
I
it
heard,
just
yeah,
doesn't
a
work
lot
at
of
all.
people, a lot of people say that they hate the ending to this. That's what I heard. They heard like it was going okay, and then the ending like fuck that up. That was good.
I understand, right? But I get what they try to do. So, all right, let me try to see it without spoiling it, right? So, the obvious reference this show is going to the obvious movie this show is going to make reference of when they talk about this is Seven.
Right.
The style
Well,
of it, the approach of it
and
is
what
very
is Bone,
much like
Bone
how
Collector?
David Fincher's film was.
Right.
Oh, Bone Collector, right. I wouldn't. Kind of in a way, but more seven. In terms of, oh, we really need to stop this guy. This guy is sick. He's psychotic, and look at all these evil, hideous things he's doing, right? And look at how super serious everyone is, and how we
Right.
look
Right.
at
Right.
life and all that kind of stuff. There's even a moment, literally, where I know we talked about this last year for retrospect reviews, right? You see with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt talking about, the world sucks, and while they're talking about the world and giving up and all that kind of stuff, they literally do a moment like that in the same movie here.
Right.
That
Right. Right.
whole,
I heard,
should we
well,
give up on life and all that kind of stuff?
yeah. What I heard about it too is that it was written back when Seven was written. It could have easily come out then. So it's like one of those films now. But it was done
Oh,
in the
really?
90s. Yeah. So written. I know
Oh,
it was.
okay.
It's an
No,
old
I
script.
just
But
thought that the setting was just convenient there. I didn't
no.
know the
Yeah.
script was written like
I
that
think it was
that
written.
far.
I think it was written back then. So back then it would have been like, okay, well, it would have been. I sure if it came out then it would have been like a kind of forgotten film, whatever it is. But it would have been
Yeah.
at least better received. You know. You
Yeah,
know because
if it was like if it was like, oh well, this is like the if you want to talk about Seven, this is like one of the shows you should talk about. And if it wasn't for this movie here, like, see, Saturday Labs, let's be
right.
real, if it wasn't for Saturday Labs, we would have Seven, right? So Yeah, I mean, if this movie came out before seven, yeah, you would have say, oh, this is kind of like one led to that, right?
Right.
But yeah, the feel of it does have a seven vibe to it. Even right down to, the main characters themselves. That would be Denzel and Rami, right? The older black man and the
Right.
younger wisecracking cop who just wants to
Right.
get things done and wants to be a hero, right? It does that. And just to get things out of the way, I think the person who kind of walks out of this, the luckiest is Rami himself.
Right.
This was a great performance for him, and I get why he didn't do it. Well, I think it makes sense why he would be in a movie like this because having him pair alongside an icon like Denzel Trent makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Trent. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, dude, this boosting your career, because yeah, I mean you
I
win
mean, well, you don't win the
for
Oscar, so
Bohemian Rhapsody, but
I think
dog, like
it's
talking
two Oscar
about
winners, eh?
right, but we talk about
Yeah.
building your career even further.
Three.
And
Wait.
I just
So
seen him together
yeah, I know. So
with
yeah,
Denzel
three
Wilson.
Oscar winners.
Yeah, that's what I said. Jared
Yeah.
Leto, he's in
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
won for
Right. Yeah. Dallas
Dallas
Buyers
Buyers
Club.
Club, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was always forget. Okay, so as always with that movie, I was always think that uh Matthew McConaughey was the only winner in that movie, but
No. Yeah.
Jared also won as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things I kind of forget now. You know what I mean? But yeah, just you could tell Rami just glad to be working alongside Denzel. Though. And yeah, they have some great moments together. You know what I mean? So I can't talk about that. This is really a great. I don't want to say a huge step forward, but this is the right direction in terms of post Oscar winners, because it's kind of legendary. When you win an Oscar, you can either go one or two paths. You either make kind of mediocre to shitty films like a Cuba Gooding Jr. or Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage, or you just
Or
keep
Halle
that
Berry.
momentum going, or Halle Berry, or you just keep that momentum going. And yeah, I like what he's doing here, man. So I don't blame him for being in this film, right? Denzel, on the other hand, not to say that he should be in this film, boy, but
Yeah.
when it comes to Denzel, Joe, like you know what to expect from him, and I don't want to say like in this
No, I
movie
mean, look,
he was half
Denzel.
asleep or something like that, but here's just like
Denzel is
it's
doing.
just a role from him. It's not a role that I will remember in a hurry. You know what I mean? That's how best I describe his performance. Like it's great, but it's because it's Denzel. You know it's going to be great, but in the pantheon of
Nah,
great
but yeah,
performances from him, this is one of the least memorable, Trent, in my opinion.
yeah, no, he does no, but I find he does do kind of trash movie when he ready. Yeah, like he does do like remember anybody remember Two Guns or some bullshit like that. Like he had movies
I went
that like
cinema to watch Two Guns.
yeah, Two Guns was
I
real
remember I remember
nonsense.
forgetting that like afterwards.
Yeah, almost
with,
immediately,
with
and it's like
marketing, by the way. Yeah.
right, that's a big factor, right? But no, like he is a person who just he though to me, well, it's a kind of common black actor problem where they had to do the trash and pull them up on it too much, but it's still kind of trash, and you had to admit that is
Yeah.
that. So that's
You
why like
kind of
with
have to
stuff.
do these rules to stay relevant. And I noticed that with Denzel, like he will always like literally every year or every 2 years he must be in a movie. The movie could be the most least memorable film ever, but it's
Yeah,
oh well, it wasn't a film this year, so he's still relevant. So yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, but I feel
right,
that's why he in this show, because really it could have been anybody else, Jen. Like
right,
that's just to show how less of a impression his character was, right? Because yeah, it's just the typical older detective have these scars and have to deal with stuff on the own and blah blah blah. As usual, he divorced and
right. Yeah,
even have this moment where he show him like actually meeting his ex-wife, and I did like, okay, but he mentioned earlier to Rami and his wife in the movie that he's divorced, but why we need to see right after that, hey, just checking up on you, how you doing,
yeah.
how
That
the
that
kids doing, like
no, it's that bullshit.
that's
You know,
padding,
yeah,
bro, that's padding.
yeah. It's that bullshit of you have to like oh well they still have a kind of a nice relationship and he's the asshole. That
Yeah,
nonsense.
but yeah, but it adds nothing to the story. Like you see how in Seven, having Gwyneth Paltrow's character there makes sense, right? And then well, having that that great moment where she talks to Morgan and he talks about the pressure that he put on his ex-wife and that's why she left. That worked,
Right.
but it's right. But yeah, so this yeah. So I mean, Denzel's in it. I mean, he's doing his thing, but really and truly, it's nothing spectacular, right? And I mean, given where his career is right now, that's the kind of thing like it can't be sorry for him for that, but it's just like nah, man. But I think the reason being is because you're paired with two other Oscar winners, right? And because of the hype surrounding this movie, you think that at least the character would have been memorable or the performance would have been memorable, but no, not really. He just kind of do his thing and does it, right? But where the show really falls way, what in terms of acting, right, is poor Jared Leto. Way. He's the one who feels it the most way because yes, he is the killer, right?
Right.
Sorry, that's not a spoiler. He is the killer.
Right.
From the moment you see him and you see here, apparently he had a fake nose. I didn't know that. I was watching a be on the trailer review of it. She say Grace said that he had a fake nose on. I was like, okay, yeah. For the moment you see him, you know he's the bad guy, right?
Right.
But
Right.
what they do with him, boy? Okay, so what basically it is without spoiler, right? The joy of serial killer movies, right? Like Silence of the Lambs and Seven, right? It's not about we find this body and look at what this guy did to the body and how was mutilated and all that kind of stuff. Is the reasoning behind it, right?
Yeah, it's the logic, right? The kind
There's a
of
method
weird,
to the madness, right?
right? Yeah, the kind of weird, broken logic that is always kind of spell out and they're tied up with the philosophy slash manifesto, right? Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. That
Yeah,
that's what that's what leaves an impression in the audience. Like, yeah, people were scared, you know what I mean, with how Seven turned out, right? With
yeah, yeah.
especially when you got the logic behind, the deaths and all that kind of stuff, right? Here, there's none of that. There's no logic, there's no reasoning behind it. It's just he just killed them, right? But what the show is trying to do, slight spoiler here, is that it's not really about the deaths themselves. It's not really about the killers themselves. It's about the guilt of not being able to stop the person. So
Right,
what they try to do is that Denzel, because he couldn't handle this situation now, he just feeling that burden on him now, and then later on you understand why, right?
right.
And they try to compare it now with Rami though because he now tried to catch this guy, right? And there's all this race to catch this guy. And something happens and he more or less it turns out not to be about the killer again like because the focus of the story there is not about well, this is why the killer was doing that, this is how we're going to catch the killer. It's not that, because the killer revealed kind of early on in the second act is like it's just kind of throw it out, but really what the show try to say is more the guilt you feel about not being able to you know uh to catch that bad guy there, to seek justice for those people who died and their families, all that kind of stuff. The guilt that you feel that's the whole point of the movie, which in itself is a pretty profound and interesting theme. But in a movie like this, Trey, where they sell it, where you kind of expect, we have to catch the bad guy and we have to see what the weird logic is, and they just throw that all away. It just makes no sense, Trey,
Right, right,
So it's all build up and it's all like, you know what I mean, this could be cool. I just throw away the one thing or the two things that really makes films like this work and try
right.
to give it this other thing, which yes, once again makes sense, but oh gosh, man, like give me what we expect like in movies like this, Trent. It's almost like let me just use Seven for example, right? Like let me just say halfway into Seven, they just decide, you know what? It's not about catching, John Doe anymore. It's about the guilt that Morgan Freeman felt because he pressured his wife and his wife leave him.
Well, I
So,
get. Okay, so
it's like that. It's like that.
I don't see the movie. Here's what I feel happen. A lot of these old scripts they would have just do what you would have said they do, but in like, we in the 2020s now, everything is all about um being introspective and this kind of stuff now. And if you don't do a good job with that, no one kind of cares. So you have to really add something interesting. And I get the feeling it's so halfway and poorly thought out, and an older writer do it. So nobody really like they ain't thinking to make it actually interesting. It's like one of those late changes in a story. You have an idea of making it introspective. That's a good idea. But if you don't think out your idea, it's a bad idea to change it at all. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do.
Right.
And
It's that's what I feel happen.
right.
It's
Well,
one of those it's
yes,
one of
to
those
an extent.
late late idea and it's like, oh well, we could do this because it's introspective. But like the introspection idea of it have to be you had to have some brains behind that. You had to spend time and think that out a little more. You gotta slap that on. I feel it's a late slap. So ever.
Right.
That's just my speculation of what think happened.
Yeah, yeah. So to compare now to News the World, right? So how News the World, is taking like a familiar premise, but has this sort of old school vibes. Like it's not trying to be edgy or new. I mean, for the kids of that, right? It's not Django and She we doing here, right? Here, this is what they try to do as well, right? They try to harken back to old school. When I say old school, I mean more like 60s, 70s neo-noir films, right?
Yeah.
Where, yes, there is a murder, there's a mystery involved and all that kind of stuff, but it's more about the character, the heroes themselves involved, right? It's not about the bad guy and all the nefarious stuff he doing. Like the whole nefarious stuff with all the shocking stuff with the villain and all that kind of stuff you would see like around like in the 80s and stuff like that, right? Like that era, right? Into where stuff like Fantasy Labs and Seven came out, right? Cool. But this one is more like, well, it's about the just these two guys, I mean, with different points of view, and just them kind of bouncing off each other. And this is how we should approach the case. And now, they're gonna conflict with what's going on, and trying to catch the bad guy. So I get that, and even the show itself has this, well, yeah, once again another slow burn piece that it takes its time and all that kind of stuff, but really and truly, the script is where this movie feels big. Because, like I say,
Yeah.
it really does have this, like it really was written like in the 90s, there, but they couldn't even polish it in such a way to just, like modernize it a little bit. They just kind of bump things up a little bit, So you just kind of end up getting a show which, yeah, try to be like, try to be old school, but just doesn't have enough story or reason to exist, I should say, for you to just care. You know what I mean? Like you could do all the throwbacks and all that kind of stuff as much as you want to. You could throw back to David Lynch. You could throw back to
Fincher. Right.
yeah, David Fincher. I
Yeah.
just thinking of like old school noir films, like
Yeah.
noir films. There, you could do all that
Right.
stuff, Trent. But if your story that's strong and that captivating enough, Trent, all they just
Yeah.
giving us
Nobody
is
cares.
just
Yeah.
your story. Sorry, just characters that I should care about. But the overall thing that they try to solve, the overall case, it just kind of derail it and just tell me, well, it's this guy, he just did it because,
Right.
it just kind of demystifies it there. In the end, you don't really care, Trent. So, yeah, boy, this is one where trying to harken back to the old school just didn't work, boy. And, it's just really about what they really could have done was just punch up the story just a lot more. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to give us seven trills or sanity labs, scares and all that kind of stuff. But dog, when you have your villain, you're literally telling us this is the villain, Dread. I don't even do much with him, and everything else just rests on these two guys who have these conflicts that kind of have something to do with this case here or not. Yeah, it just becomes like a chore watching this movie, Dread.
Right.
So yeah, this unfortunately was a misfire for Warner Brothers. This was the one that was gonna kick things off for 2021, man, in terms of
Bad.
this
Bad time.
whole streaming theatrical stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, this really does feel like something that could have come out like in the 90s or the 80s. Like it would have worked better then, where we didn't really have much to think about. But here, where we've seen better films like in this same vein, just like why, Dred? You know what I mean? It's a shame too, Dred, because you have three Oscar winners in this, Dred, and
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
mean they do the thing, but yeah, they could have been a much better film, man. So sorry, I'll give this a strong 2.5 out of 5, man. See
yeah.
it if you
So
need, if you want to, but yeah, boy, this material could have been so much better, boy. But like I say, Rami walks out of this the winner because he get to start a movie alongside friggin' Denzel Dredd, so he could just add that to your resume. And yeah, I mean,
right.
sky's the limit for Rami Dredd. I don't know
Right.
what we're gonna get with No Time to Die. That's if we even
Oof.
get it this year.
I don't
But I
expect
I,
that.
I real iffy with him playing Doctor No or just him being
No,
a
you're not playing.
villain.
You're not playing Doctor. No, you're playing Doctor. No,
Uh,
right?
yeah, like whoever,
Oh no.
like him being a
Right. No,
villain, that's
yeah.
still
Yeah.
kind of iffy about it.
I
And
have.
that's
I
saying
have.
he can't play villains. And that's saying that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know what to expect from him, Trent. But
No. Yeah. I have zero faith in that Bond movie coming. I have no hype for that. I do
okay,
expect
I
that to
I,
be.
I kind of want to see it because this is the last Daniel Craig though. But
Yeah. But
it's just
it's.
when do they could just keep pushing back dates, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, back to this movie. Denzel. by now he's been in so much better films already. Why this is one that even that Denzel fan go forget about. To be honest, I mean that's not to say his performance is trash right there, now, but just he's just been in better films, right? So here's just like literally he's just doing this for a paycheck. He just literally
Yeah.
doing this to be relevant. And well, poor Jared Leto, boy, like boy, like I would say, and what make it even sad for him too, Dred, is that this is after Suicide Squad, Dred. 'Cause you know, like
Yeah.
how, 'cause remember what we had going with him playing Joker was his Oscar win, right? It's like, oh
Yeah.
well, right, cool. So he win the Oscar, you gotta be in a big movie, and then well,
Yeah.
you know,
Everybody was hype over
we-
that bullshit now.
yeah. But here, if this movie came out before Suicide Squad, it'd be like, okay, he could play villainous, he could play psycho. All right, I could see this now. But yeah, you see him now here, didn't really do much with his character. It's just like, well, okay, oh yeah, he won an Oscar. All right, I forget about that. That's literally how you would feel watching this way. So yeah, like I say, unfortunate misfire here from Warner Brothers way. And last thing I'll say, and then I'll shut up here way.
Yeah.
This is what I honestly glad I did not watch in theaters because yes, it's in cinema right now. Like even
Oh,
here in
really?
Trinidad, it's in cinema. I saw the ad for
Okay.
it.
Okay.
It's one of our Trinity Critics League's colleagues now, Wade Rock, made a joke that, you know, they spelled Denzel name wrong, so they spelled Denzil. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's that though. Like even in this day and age, you can't even spell the man name properly,
You're
right?
right.
But
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
still, yeah, it's in cinema right now, boy. But believe you me, if I saw this in cinema, I probably would have been sleeping halfway through it, but it's that
Wow.
slow, it's that dull, it just doesn't really go anywhere. I get what they're trying to say in terms of the conflict that they're going through, but still it doesn't even work in that way neither. So yeah, boy. Sorry, I mean, it's the little things literally like in the title that counts, boy. But yeah, like if you had just put a little more effort in that script, we could have gotten a great movie, boy. But nope, just bland, forgettable, just nothing in my opinion. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Sad.
strong 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, what are your need to come better with the with your next release, trend, you know?
Right. Right. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's how it is.
But I would have loved if you saw it though. Like I would have loved
Yeah.
to hear your thoughts on it. But after what I
Yeah.
told you, Jen,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think
Any
you will
patience
watch it.
with her.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing though. It really does test your patience, but you'll be there like waiting for something to happen. It's like nope, not really.
Sad.
Yeah, sad.